This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com. Hi everybody, welcome to another Painting 101. So what are we talking about today? Today we are talking about, yes, dry brushing. You saw it on the cover there. We're going to be using a Rising Sun figure to show this, so we're going to go down to the table, but we're going to talk a little bit, and I'm going to draw a little in my very cool Godzilla book here and make you understand certain things. Now, what is dry brushing? Dry brushing is when you take most of the paint off a brush and you're laying a dry, you're not putting a lot of paint on, and what you're doing is very lightly dusting over the top parts of a model. What does that do? That is creating light and illusion and depth. Okay? Now, I put the camera a certain way. Now, as you can see, things are not always as you see. Yes, I have this particular shirt, but if you look in the creases here, there are shadows, and you are creating shadows. So by darkening those deeper parts of a shirt, okay, this is not all one particular color. And the same thing happens on a model. If you look, the light comes from a particular angle. We have our handy dandy Godzilla pad here to kind of show you how certain things work. When you're working on a model, you can create an illusion of light. Now, with dry brushing, all you're trying to do is, say we have a model, and this is just a poor attempt of just showing you some recesses here. Now, if you notice these recesses here, when we put a wash in there, it'll kind of fill in some of these recesses and give it a dark undertone. But it also darkens over the top thing. By dry brushing with our brush, and here's some bristles, all we're trying to do is hit these areas here very lightly, leaving that dark undertone. And what's that going to do is create depth and light. Now, if we use that one color on all of this, you would just have a very generic type of look, okay? And by taking like a, say you're doing armor, chain link armor. Chain link armor kind of works all in this type of way here, okay? So if you took a particular silver and you put it all over here, well, it would just have that, it would just cover any kind of detail. But by putting a wash over, of course, you're going to have little areas in that chain link that are going to be darker. And then by dry brushing, you're going to have little areas that are a lot lighter. And that is going to give you an illusion of depth and light. And that's what we're basically trying to do, is create an illusion of light. Okay? For, say you have your little model here, as such, don't see, we'll put a big smile on them too, and some eyes, and there we go. Light, such as the sun, comes from a certain direction. Okay? This will be lighter than on the back side of your model. We always try to create the illusion that you're looking directly at the model and that the light is coming directly at the model, the same way this light is now coming at me. Even though the light is hitting me directly, there are certain parts that you can see that are changed in the color. Number one, if I have my hat this way, okay, particularly, and the light is hitting me straight on, my brim here is a different color than the brim that is facing directly in the light. And you can see how that all shades out. And that's how you create different points on your model, is to give that realism of light and depth. Now, dry brushing is one way of doing it. So let's go down to the table, and I'm going to show you how we're going to create some of that with one of our Rising Sun models. Okay, so we're down at the table here, and we have the Uriah Monster from Rising Sun. And as you can see, this had a white base coat, but what I decided to do was put a very dark and deep new oil over it. And as you can see, it's all in the recesses there. Now I'm going to take some ceramic white and I'm going to go back over it, and I have a little on my brush, and you want to take as much as you can off the brush. So are you wasting paint? You sure are, but for the result that you're going to get, that's what really counts here. And all we're doing is taking the figure, and like I showed you on the thing, is just barely just taking and going over the top edges there. And you can see we're now all of a sudden the clothing is lightening up a bit, but we're not losing any of the detail. And that's the idea, is to keep the shadow and illusion of light, because that's what really gives depth to your figure. And you can see, you know, if you have too much paint on here, that's going to be a problem. The best thing to do, and I always say this a lot, is do this on the bottom and to go around the edges of your brush. If the edges are dark and there's too much paint on there, you'll know. It'll really come out very too deep, because like we said when I was drawing it out, you don't want to get in the recesses. We have stuff in there. We have stuff in the grooves. What you want to do is just hit the high points. And all we're doing is trying to hit the high points here to bring out what is, by doing this, all we're doing is bringing out and showing the clothing the way it should look, and basically showing shadow and light. And that's all we're doing, just hitting the high points and really making that stand out and give it a very nice and unique look and depth. And everybody will go, wow, how did you do that? Well, all it is just a simple technique of dry brushing. So as you can see, the difference, if you scroll back, you'll see the difference in how the clothing has changed just by taking your brush and going over the top. Alright, so that's basically how you dry brush. So let's go up top and get us out of here. Now again, these tips are beginner, very, very basic beginner concepts that I'm trying to teach that person that has never picked up a brush to comprehend something very easily. And if you saw what we did with the model, we did a very basic thing. And to be able to bring that out and make people comprehend that have never picked up a brush, that's what we're attempting to doing. I know that there are experts out there that do things a lot differently. This is just one easy step on how to start to understand how to create a miniature with depth and perception. So I hope you really enjoyed this version of Painting 101, and until next time, I'm your old pal Rob. We'll see you soon.